reader friends, it's Vanessa from The Cozy Chapter, and today I'm bringing to you my largest list of new releases yet. These are January 2026 new releases, and I've tried to pull from as many genres as I could. I'm going to put them in order of release, and I also will put chapters down below, and then I will link all the books that I talk about down below. All right. Let's get into this. Our first release date is January 1st. First book is called The Water Lies by Amy Myerson. It's a story about two women who are searching for answers about a woman who drowned. Tessa is a mother of a toddler, and she's at a coffee shop with her toddler, and her toddler is getting all excited and starts yelling at this woman that she's never seen before and calling her Gigi. And the next day that woman winds up drowned, is that how you pronounce it? In a canal outside Tessa's home. The police believe that this was just a drunken accident, but the woman's mother refuses to believe that that's what happened. So the two women team up and try to investigate what happened to the woman. Our next release date is January 6th. The first book I have is Meet the Newmans by Jennifer Niven, maybe, who knows. So this is a historical fiction. It's set in the 1960s. It's said to be good for fans of Lessons in Chemistry and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which sounds definitely very interesting to me. It is about this TV family who stars on this television show, and they've been considered America's favorite family for years, but things start to decline, things start to happen with a television show, and it turns out that, you know, the family's not quite as perfect as they had once believed. They begin to write the final episode for the show, and the mother of the family hires a reporter to help her write this, but they start to have differing views about what a woman's life should look like in the 1960s. And so I think that that element is very interesting to me because I think it's going to have great discussions about women in the 1960s and the woman's role in the home. Next, I have The Charmed Library by Jennifer Mormon. And this is about an assistant librarian who is not only able to read words on a page, but she's also able to read words like they exist around her, they come to life. So she has this supernatural, magical ability. So one day, Stella, the librarian, she tosses a journal that had love notes to her ex. Love notes from her ex, I think. Love notes associated with her ex into the fire, and her magic has more to it than what she had originally thought. And she starts to realize that the library has magical powers as well. And part of that magic is bringing fictional characters to life, which books about magical fictional characters, sign me up. Okay, next is The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. And this is about a town in Alabama that is known for having these massive hurricanes that just take everything out. But there's this one inn called the Rosalie Inn that has lasted through all the hurricanes. And in 1984, a local man lost his life, and everyone in the town thinks it's because of this woman, Lo Bailey. And flash forward to present day, a reporter comes to town to investigate all this, and he comes to town with Lo Bailey. So obviously, high tension there. Next is The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. This is the sequel to, what is that book called? This is the sequel to The Last Thing He Told Me, which came out, I want to say, a handful of years ago, and people really, really loved it. I'm going to be 100% honest. I read it and I didn't understand what the hype was about, but nevertheless, if you loved it, there's a sequel coming out. And the first story, and I always try to just talk about the first story in series like this that have some sort of connection. I don't want to give anything away. So the first is about a man who disappears, but then he leaves this note for his new wife to protect his daughter. Oh, this next one sounds so much fun. Definitely, maybe Not a Detective by Sarah Fox. This one completely reminds me of the Finley Donovan books, but like in a good way. Like maybe it's, I don't know if it's like copying too much, but it sounds amazing. It's a cozy mystery, and it's about a woman named Emerson who is trying to get back at her ex-boyfriend who stole from her. And so she decides to hire a private detective, but there is no private detective. It's not real. There's no real private detective because she's trying to prove who stole the money. However, in her little scheming, her plot, her plan, there is a body that shows up at the apartment complex that she lives at, and she starts to get wrapped up in this investigation. This one sounds amazing. I just added this last minute to the list. It's called The Odds of You by Kate Dramas, and it says it's good for fans of Ashley Poston, and I love Ashley Poston. So it is about a romance author named Sage who meets an emerging actor named Theo on a flight, and they get mistaken for boyfriend and girlfriend, and chemistry starts to form between the two of them, but just because of their career circumstances, they decide, hey, this is not going to work. So afterwards, she decides to flee Scotland and go on this trip to clear her head, and who other than Theo shows up and finds a way to get back into her life. Next, I have Playing for Keeps by Alexandria Bellafleur. This is a sapphic romance between two rival publicists, and one of them works for a pop star and the other one works for an NFL quarterback, and they are forced to work together when their two clients start to date. I have another romance, Drive Me Crazy by Lizzie Dent. This is a Formula One romance, and it is about their enemies, I think. Yeah, it's an enemies to lovers story, and the male main character is a Formula One racer, and the female main character is on his team, and she is the first woman that's like in this role, but so she's really got to prove herself. But of course, there's a little bit of an issue. She's gonna fall in love. Moving on to January 13th. This is a book that I am really, really interested in. It's called Dandelion is Dead by Rosie Story. This is about a woman who loses her sister, and she finds a notification or a message from a man on her sister's dating app, and she decides to meet up with a stranger, I guess, and go on a date. And so it is a story with kind of a quirky little premise, and it's about love and finding love after grief. Next, I have Is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. Emily Austen is known for her quirky novels, and this one is about a librarian who is just returning to work after she just had a mental health crisis. So there's definitely going to be a discussion about what that means, what that's like, all the process of getting back into real life after such a traumatic thing or such a difficult thing happened to her. And when she returns to work, there's all these protests in the community about the library, and there's all these requests for book bans. And so it's also a story about the importance of libraries. Next, I have Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. And this is a standalone romantasy, which I love standalone romantasies or standalone fantasies in general, just because I don't want to commit to a whole thing. And so this is set in Renaissance Italy. It's about this sculptress named Ravina, and she enters a competition to earn a reward that will save her brother, and she shows her forbidden magic during this competition, and this gets her into some trouble, and she gets kidnapped by this family called the Looney family, L-U-N-I. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And they need her to perform a task for them that is going to risk their life. So it's a little bit of high stakes. I had seen this one, but I didn't really know what it's about, but I'm really interested in it. It's called Most Eligible by Isabel Engel, and it is described as Miss Congeniality meets The Bachelor. I like reality television, and I tend to enjoy stories about it as well. Okay, so this is about a woman named Georgia, and she is a writer, and she's joining this reality television series that takes place in a Malibu mansion not because she wants to fall in love or be a reality star, but she wants to find out the secrets and expose the producers on the show. However, she had a one-night stand like a year prior, and it was with this man named Rhett, who was a country singer. So obviously that's going to pose a problem for her mission, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, next is Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. Ashley Elston is the author of First Lie Wins, and that book was definitely hugely popular when it came out. I read it. It's a cat and mouse thriller. I don't know, personally I wouldn't say, like, I feel like it's a little bit overhyped. That's what I'll say. However, I will be interested in this one. This is about two women named Camille and Aubrey who hatch a plan to spy on Camille's husband, Ben, because both of them think that Ben has some sort of secrets that both the women want to know. However, they do their spy mission and Ben's body is found afterwards, and it turns out only one of the women has an alibi. Next is The Shark House by Sarah Ackerman. This is set in 1998, and it's about a biologist and a shark whisperer named Minnow. How appropriate, we love it. She travels to Hawaii, to a coastal area that is having problems with lots and lots of shark attacks. And she's gonna go into the ocean and figure out what's going on and why all these shark attacks are occurring. And she's gonna discover something that goes beyond the surface of the water that's connected to powerful people that live on this island. Next, I have The Hitch by Sarah Levine. And first of all, I love the cover of this because I love the corgi. Second of all, I'm just gonna tell you exactly this little blurb, and I think that this will make you wanna read it. So, a delightfully unhinged comedy following a woman as she attempts to exorcise the spirit of a corgi from her nephew. If that sounds like your cup of tea, I think just go for it. All right, next I have Nothing Random by Gail Feldman. This is a biography about the founder of Random House named Bennett Cerf. I really don't know anything about him or this story. Sounds very interesting, obviously being a book lover. This one's on my radar. Okay, next I have Scavengers by Kathleen Boland. So this is about a mother who goes on a hunt to find buried treasure. Oh no, a mother and a daughter who go on a hunt. Go on a hunt. I'm stumbling over the words. There's so many books here. Okay, so it's about a mother and a daughter who go on a hunt for buried treasure. So the daughter is the more cautious one and the mother is the more free-spirited one, but the daughter does something uncharacteristic at her job, and she gets fired, and she works in New York, so she books a one-way ticket to Salt Lake City where her mother lives, and they go on this adventure to find buried treasure. Next is You'll Never Forget Me by Isha Raya. This is a cat and mouse thriller. So it is about Dimple Kapoor. She's a struggling actress, and a year ago, she committed a very serious crime to get herself out of a bad situation. So the parents of her victim hire a private investigator to get to the bottom of what happened with her daughter. The private investigator is immediately suspicious of Dimple, and she invites her to join in on the investigation. And that is when the cat and mouse game begins. Next, I have For Our Next Song by Jessica James. This is the second in the Glitter Bat series, and it's a sapphic romance, and it's about two longtime friends and bandmates in a rock band called Glitter Bats. Next, I have Into the Midnight by Alexandra McCullum. This is a whimsical fantasy romance. It's about Meredith and David, who are roommates, and Meredith's quirky personality drives David crazy. David plans to move out, but some magic in the midnight wood that they live next to comes to their doorstep, and David's irritation for Meredith starts to turn into a connection. Now the books for January 20th. The first up I have The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. And this is said to be good for fans of Daisy Jones and the Six and In 5 Years. And it's about a struggling band called The Future Saints who get a last chance when a record executive discovers their new sound. And so the lead singer starts to get into a bit of trouble, and it starts to jeopardize the band's success. And the description says it's about sisterhood, friendship, and the ghosts that haunt us. Sounds like a lot. It also looks very interesting. Okay, next up I have My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I've read, I think, a couple Alice Feeney, and they've all been pretty good. I know she's a pretty well-known and well-liked author. It's about a woman who returns to her new home, and the home is called Spy Lass, and it's an enchanted old house. And when she gets there, she finds there's another woman there with her husband, and her husband is just like, yeah, this is my wife. Like, you know, you're not my wife. What are you talking about? So there's a huge mystery. There's something that happened there, and then another woman named Birdie is connected in some sort of web of lies between them, and she inherited the house 6 months prior to this, and she recently went into a London clinic, and in that clinic they can supposedly predict how long a person will live, and now she knows how long she will live. Next I have Cross Your Heart and Hope He Dies by Jenny Elder Mate. This is a cozy mystery with a romance element. So Julia is a career-oriented publisher that has obtained rights to a memoir that exposes the secrets of an ultra-exclusive country club called Pacific Pines. Something happens to the subject of the memoir, and Julia takes it upon herself to uncover the secrets of Pacific Pines. All right, The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sato Yamabao. This is about a magical train that is called the Elsewhere Express that will take you to find your life's purpose. Next, I have Anne of a Different Island by Virginia Contra. So this is based on Anne of Green Gables, which is so fun. So our female main character is also named Anne, and she has lived her life by the book. She's always just done things as she's supposed to, and a series of unfortunate life events force her to face the fact that life does not always follow a script. Don't we know it, girl? Next is A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. So this is about a group of siblings who are called back to their house by the ghost of their brother, and they had left 18 years prior, and the siblings are going to work with the ghost of their brother to discover the mysteries of their past. Next is All the Little Houses by May Cobb. Here's the blurb on this one. From the author of The Hunting Wives comes a deliciously wicked new thriller about mean girls, mean moms, and the delicious secrets inside all the little houses. Next is Catch Her If You Can by Tessa Bailey. And this is the 5th book in her Big Shot series. And it is about Madden, who is a catcher for the New York Yankees, and Eve, who is the owner of a burlesque club. So Madden has been in love with Eve since they were in high school, but Eve always turns him down. However, Eve's sister just left her with 2 children, and she is in need of health care. So they decide to strike up a marriage of convenience, as you do, so that she can get health care. Next, this one sounds so stinking interesting to me. It is called Room 706 by Ellie Levinson. This is a debut novel, and this is the blurb by Sarah Jessica Parker. She says, Room 706 is as tender as it is surprising. A gripping interrogation of womanhood, before and after marriage, and children change our identities. I'm sure I won't be the only one nodding my head throughout. I adored this brilliant novel. And for anyone that wasn't aware, Sarah Jessica Parker was one of the judges for the Booker this year, so she definitely knows her books. Okay, so it's about a woman named Kate who is bogged down in her marriage and motherhood, and her refuge and her escape from this life is by having an affair. So every few months she meets up with her lover at a hotel, and they embark on their affair. However, one night she's staying at the hotel with her lover, and she becomes trapped in the hotel because the hotel is under siege. And her captivity leads her to evaluate her life and all the things that led her to this point. Now we have When We Were Brilliant by Lynn Cullen. And obviously I'm interested in this one because Marilyn Monroe is on the cover, and it's like actually about Marilyn Monroe. It's a historical fiction. So it is about Marilyn Monroe and a documentary photographer named Eve Arnold. So prior to Marilyn's explosive stardom, she meets Eve Arnold and wants her to photograph Marilyn and believes they can create something exceptional. However, Eve is looking for more serious subjects than this ambitious starlet. However, these two women keep getting pulled together and they form an unexpected connection. Okay, last one for January 21st. Like, what date are we on, guys? There's so many books. Like, I can't, no, January 20th. Okay, last one for January 20th. It is Our Ex's Wedding by Telene Voskuni. Probably saying that wrong. It's about a wedding planner and a winery owner who have to work together to plan a wedding of their mutual ex. Now for the January 27th releases. The first one I have is The Unwritten Rules of Magic by Harper Ross. This is a story about our main character Emerson, who steals her father's vintage typewriter following his wake. So she discovers if she types a wish on it, the wish will come true. And she starts to become obsessed of writing the perfect story for herself and her daughter. Once again, Frida McFadden is at it with a new book called Dear Debbie. Our main character is a writer for an advice column, and she has heard all types of stories from women who have been mistreated by their husbands. And over the years, she has done her best to help point them in the right direction. But Debbie's life is spiraling out of control, and now she wants to take revenge on the people who deserve it. Interesting. And finally, I have Sunken Love by Heather McGreen. Her name is not McGreen. Okay, so she's the author of Wedding Dashers. This is a second chance romance, and it is about a couple who is on the verge of divorce, but the female main character's grandparents ask the male main character to officiate for their wedding vow renewal that just happens to be on a cruise ship for a week, and so the two are going to be trapped at sea for a week together to sort out their issues. All right, if you stuck around this far, thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below the book that you are most interested in reading. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel so very much, and don't forget the links for everything are down below as well. Bye guys, thanks for watching.